Okay. Okay, it's Ushma and me, and we're doing the awesomeness of new, capital N-E-W, new. And I would kind of subtitle that as leading edge conversations for everything new. It's there's not just one area we want to talk about. Talk about how everything is newing itself up all the time and how exciting that is, as opposed to having lived in a version of reality which was change is stressful. This is not. This is like exciting, exhilarating, just keep sourcing the news. So that's for me what it's about. How about for you?
Yeah, it's exactly that you can be and live in a reality where you are navigating what already exists and you're trying to fit into that, and it's where all our school systems and government systems and everything else is set up to be at the moment, and where you're deeply trying to control everything so that you can actually be okay, be safe within that system. Or you can be in a space where none of that exists and everything is brand new in every moment, and you're the one creating it by the energy that you put out. And I know which one's more fun. And in the second one, there's no need for control. You actually surrender control of the outcomes.
And while we are talking about this, we're not talking about, oh, you are the creator of your reality. It's not at that level we're talking about this. It's kind of like you are the creator. Like you are the source of how life can unfold into its next limitless possibilities. And that's a really exciting place to live life. And I did a video today for one of my series where I was talking about there's this old version of reality in which everything is already set and it's got, a fair amount of beliefs and boxes and thoughts and structures around it. And then there's this new version of reality in which you just come into it and you are masterful in your own particular unique ways. You have access to kind of infinite flow of intelligence and knowing that's amazing. You become the source of life unfolding, and you have this ability that you don't have in this version of reality. And it's not just, I was saying, it's not just raising your frequency. There's a moment where you elevate and you pop into this other version of reality. And it's an elevation thing, not just to raise your, it's hard to describe, isn't it? But I was doing some exercises today with people to try and get them to get that. It's like you can raise your frequency in a feel-good factor, and that's nice, but that doesn't mean you pop into this. But the moment you fall out in love with the universe and become the source, the creator, boom, you're in this new reality. And then everything is up for grabs.
I think that as well is the flip between physical reality being real and consciousness and energetics being the thing that's real. Probably about, I don't know, a few years ago, I had this thought that if I had kids, what is the one thing that I would want them to know? And actually it's come up again because last week I went to something where there were a lot of people in pain and suffering. And I was like, the one thing I would like them to know is, yes, there is this world where there is a lot of pain and suffering and you have to struggle through everything that you want to do and you're pushing against all the time for any small movement.
Yeah.
But there's this other world where the energetics and consciousness takes the lead and everything is much easier. And it is an entirely different world. It's not, it's so, everything is different there and nothing is solid and static. And you don't need to, I think the key message was you don't need to suffer the way you've been suffering, and you don't need to do life the way you have. And even all the issues of things like abundance or health or all of those things, they exist on that plane in a way that they don't exist if you work with energetics and consciousness.
Yeah. And it's interesting for me because at one point, 10, 20 years ago, there was the world of energetics and consciousness. It was kind of intangible, invisible out here. And then there was the world of reality. But what's happened is those have kind of done this.
Yeah.
And this new version of reality that I'm talking about takes the world of energy and consciousness and makes it a reality, a tangible, operational reality in which you can live your life and create your life. from. It's very different places there.
It's here, yeah, exactly. Yeah, years ago we used to go off and do energy work, and you know, it would look like us lying around or sitting around and going out there and doing all this different stuff. Whereas now it's not. It's present. It's the way we live. It's the way we walk around wherever we're going, and it is everything almost lining up to join you as you do life. And it's through the energetics you be, not through you pushing and pulling what's happening in physical reality.
Yeah, and in this version of reality, the old version, you have no real power or sway to make a change other than to be kind, to do some good acts, to maybe some people be activists, whatever their choice is, to try and affect it. But in this version of reality, you are the world's consciousness revealing itself into its next new magnificence. And therefore, you are able to transform, transcend, came up with the term supersession recently, all these terms of how you can literally convert old reality into something magnificently awesome that's just waiting to be, you know? You used the term last week, higher organizing intelligence behind all life. We were talking about that. And I think what happens is when you get to this version of reality, you become that higher organizing intelligence. So it exists, but then you become it. And you reshape the world from a higher organizing intelligence. And that translates into reality very quickly now. Like most people would say, 5 years ago, you'd have a kind of make some magic intentions, and it would take a week or a month or a year. And now you make them, and it's like, poof, person phones. You know, like it's come together into reality more now, so that we can be source creators.
Yeah. I think it's that and the weird thing is, at that level where you are that higher organizing intelligence, you aren't having to think about any of it. You're not having to think about lining things up or what needs to be created in order for something else to be created. And when I was looking at it last week, it was like, the first thing I wanted to say was, whatever you need is there as you need it. But when I looked, that was wrong. It was, whatever you need is there just before you need it, you know. And it is that, but it's like, it's your path is smoothed out so much without you trying to control, or I keep going back to that thing because I think I've seen so many people trying to control things at a human level.
Yeah.
And when you surrender it all and become that bigger, higher organizing and creational intelligence, then you are in creative flow all the time. You are creating it as you move along, and it is there as you need it, but it's already there.
And one of the new things we found in this reality is the flow state. It's like you just don't even want to go out of the flow state. Like you flow to what feels right and good. You do the things you love. You know what's right to do. So it is a way of that greater intelligence informing your directions in life, and it sits with all these amazing possibilities just waiting for us. But it's been invisible to us before, and now it's starting to become more tangible and visible to us as we dwell in this newness of everything, you know, as source creators. So it's really exciting.
I don't know whether we want to take this conversation to the next phase, but what I think is that exists as that, but then there's also the creational intelligence, or us as source, and in that space, it's entirely different in that whatever it is that's next doesn't exist already. You are in a creative play space, and you're, you know, much like a child, I wonder what will happen if I do this or if I do that. You're following the energies, and as you do that, you're actually creating the new into its next iteration. Actually, that's a lie. It's not even its next iteration. You are creating something totally brand new that's never been before, from the energetics and the frequencies and the harmonies and the colors and the whatever, however you as your unique expression of source, play with energy.
Yeah.
And what you're passionate about and excited about. That's the thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's interesting. One of the people in one of my series today said, when I did a session with you before, I felt like I unzipped my human suit and I became this infinite creator in which my art got better, my writing got better, my life got better, my abundance got more. But it wasn't like she had to do anything about it. It was just instinctively in the space as soon as she unzipped the human suit. Is what she said. I thought that was pretty cool, because that's kind of what it's like. You step out of this and you step into this.
Yeah.
And there's a curiosity and an excitement and an ability to create that's not necessarily the same here. There's nothing to fight against, because you're not trying to change anything. You're not trying to fix something. You're sourcing the brand new, and that has incredible freedom, like a creative act in it. And that's exciting to me. I love that.
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. So that's probably our first video on the awesomeness of new. Right there, that probably nicely says it. And some of the other topics that we plan to talk about are the emergence of a brand new intelligence, how we're now able to look at DNA and see that we can just completely recreate ourselves, from cells to DNA to body to personality to beingness to life force to all of it. So those are a couple of things we plan to talk about. Anything else you can top of mind think of that we want to?
No, really not. Just that yeah, we wanted this space to be one where we could highlight what else is available, like the other possibilities, and where we're playing that is so much fun, and invite whoever wants to play into the game.
Yeah, just to have conversations with the awesomeness of new. So I love it. Okay, great. That's our first one, folks. So watch for more. We'll probably do 2 or 3 a week, I would imagine, for a bit. What do you think?
No idea. Yeah.
Thanks all.